Okay, welcome back to the UnAthletic Podcast for episode 6. It's been a minute since we have recorded and uploaded. Well, not uploaded. I uploaded one a couple days ago, but recorded. So first off, Kyle, brother, how are you? How are we doing?
Good brother.
What's up, brother?
But just circumstances.
Yeah.
Things occurred. Nothing happened.
Context. We have a homie, Matty G. Shout out that did that.
Our
editing for
editor
us.
fell through.
Yeah.
I'll throw him right under the bus.
He's been editing for us, and he goes to school in Japan, so we had to take matters in our own hands. I've been kind of getting familiar with Premiere Pro again, so but we got that figured out, and we're back, and we're ready to go, ready to lock in, ready to run shit up. So, I guess there's nothing else other than to get into it. Okay, so a lot has happened since last time we recorded.
A lot, because it's been like 4 weeks.
In terms of NFL free agency. So we're far removed from a couple, so we'll just go over briefly. So first of all, we'll just start with Kirko Thuggins to ATL. It's pretty much what we expected.
Became clear favorites of the NFC South with one fell swoop.
Yep.
They got big Kirko, a new coach, and Darnell Mooney.
So we both think, the Falcons get tremendously better. They almost made the playoffs with horrible quarterback play last year.
Bad coaching,
bad
quarterback, bad everything.
So, I'll just start off with this. How many wins? I think I saw something. Vegas thinks that they are good for 10.5 wins.
Yeah, I was about to say, this looks like a 10 team.
Yeah, 10 wins.
They went 7-10. They'll probably flip it, go 10-10.
Yeah. I think Kirk Cousins will shift this team, at least get this team on average, 2 more wins this year. And that's at least. Right?
Even if Kirk Cousins isn't as good as he was in Minnesota, which I feel like he probably should be, because his standard in Minnesota wasn't insane per se, but the coaching's better. They even improved their skill positions, so they have a good O-line. They have a great defense. They should be fine, even if Kirk Cousins is average.
I will say this. I think they did drop a bag on him, especially for a 36-year-old quarterback coming off a ruptured Achilles or torn Achilles. So, I get there's a little worry behind that, but at the same time, he's Kirk's not known for being the most athletic quarterback. He's known for sitting in the pocket and carving defenses up if unbothered. Yeah. So, as far as Kirk to ATL, we both expected that. We both thought he was going to land there. So, shift over to the Steelers, talk about them briefly in that quarterback situation they got going on. So the Russ thing happened pretty fucking quickly. It literally happened. Honestly, it happened the night before free agency actually started, but it happened the day of.
Yeah,
right.
He announced his commitment or whatever.
The Russ thing happened quickly, right? And then the Justin Fields thing happened shortly
2 weeks
after.
later, 1 week later.
Yeah. I get it. And I don't have a problem with it, but what threw me off about this is that the Steelers were talking about a long-term deal with Russ, which I don't see the point of bringing in. I guess you can have Justin Fields learn behind Russ, but was Russ that much better than Justin Fields when Justin Fields was healthy? I don't think so.
The way I see it is they have Russ on this 1-year, $6 million contract, right? And Justin Fields is also on the final year of his rookie contract with the Bears, or from the Bears. So it's kind of like an insurance policy, right? Say Russell Wilson's terrible in training camp, first half of the season, whatever. You throw in Justin Fields. Justin Fields plays good enough. That's kind of where it goes. You just let Russ walk, obviously, because he's on a 1 year. But then you have to pay Justin Fields, probably. So that was just the biggest thing with Justin Fields the whole time, right? Is you were going to have to pay him after this year, regardless.
And I think that the Steelers...
And I think what they're trying to get away with is that he rides the bench the whole season, so they have to pay him less, is my guess.
Yeah, and I think in their heads, I think they're going to move forward with Justin Fields. Really, no, unless Russell Wilson somehow turns into Seattle Russ and is just an MVP form all of a sudden.
He would have to be an MVP
Yeah, exactly.
Because I don't see any realm where they pay him.
So I think the Steelers have it made up already that they probably plan on moving forward with Justin Fields after this year. And that's if Russ doesn't play bad at any point of the year, and they decide to put Justin Fields in. So as far as that, I mean, we talked about Russ going to the Steelers. Justin Fields, not so much, but I mean, him going there makes sense. Um, but yeah, and then so we'll shift over to Brandon Ayuk, Niners, right? He's kind of in a weird situation. Granted, I'm not too worried about it. Well, let's just start off with this. Do you think he's gonna get traded? Because I don't. I don't think he's gonna get traded.
I think at this point, I mean, I would say it's too late, but obviously Stephon Diggs got traded
Yeah.
yesterday. But the asking price for Ayuk is higher than Diggs because Diggs' ceiling is unrecognized. Where I think as we've kind of seen Stephon Diggs' ceiling, which was that like second year with Josh
Yeah.
Allen, where he had
Brandon
like
Ayuk has gotten better every year the
1,400
past
plus
3
yards.
years.
Yeah, and then Stephon Diggs also has like the stigma around him now
Yeah.
that he's bad in the locker room because it's 2 teams now where he's apparently had locker room problems with like the quarterback.
Yeah.
But
He's just a diva wide
I think,
receiver. It's just
but
how
every
does
wide
yeah,
receiver
no,
one is
yeah,
a diva.
every wide receiver
That's my
in receivers
problem.
though. It's like when you know what
Like
you're capable of as that type of as
I
that
hate
tier
when
one wide receiver, it's like,
people say because every wide receiver one in history is a diva,
yep,
except for like recently that come to mind is like Julio and Calvin Johnson haven't been like ultra mega divas that we know of, but Julio and Calvin Johnson also like haven't really competed for touches most of their career. Like Julio had Roddy White at the beginning and Calvin Ridley at the end, but whatever. And then who was ever competing with Calvin Johnson for touches?
yeah. I don't think he's gonna
He's
get traded.
terrible.
I
I
know
think
it's kind of
that the
dragging
asking
out.
price is too high. On top of his
Yeah,
contract is going to be very
yeah,
expensive.
because whoever trades for him is gonna have to pay him as well. And then
Yeah,
what we're asking for, I mean, look at what we wanted from the Jags in order to give him up.
because you guys are asking for a
We
first,
wanted a
right?
first and
A
Zay
first plus
Jones.
extra. Yeah.
Yeah,
Whereas Stephon Diggs was a straight up second,
yeah.
right?
And so
So
And then if you look at the past history of like the last big stars, big like all pro, Pro Bowl tier players we've had contract talks with, it's always drug out, right? Look at Debo. He literally requested a trade during the
yeah,
offseason on the pay me year. And he ended
I
up
just think his
rescinding the
asking price
trade
is
and
too
got it
high.
back. Look at George Kittle, his contract talks drug out during the offseason. Pretty sure he didn't get paid until the start of training camp. Nick
Yeah.
Bosa literally didn't get extended up until almost week 1, which was kind of crazy, but it happened. So I'm not
Yeah.
too worried about it. Do I think there's a scenario where we trade him? Yes, just because look at the Bills. I mean, there's a team that might be desperate enough to trade for a proven, I guess, semi sort of proven receiver in
I mean, we
Ayuk.
say that, but they're not going to be able to re-sign him. They don't
Yeah,
have money.
exactly. So, but let's just think of this: a scenario, boom, he gets traded. Where? Where do you think he goes?
It would have to be a team with money
Yeah,
that has not insane draft capital, but like has a lower mid first
yeah,
round pick or later first round pick. Because I don't think anyone's trading a top 10 pick for Ayuk,
yeah.
obviously. I can't think of a team that has that much cap space is kind of the problem.
I think for me, there's
The
two
Jags were
teams.
like the only team that
Yeah,
made sense because they still have Trevor Lawrence on a rookie contract, but they obviously weren't going to take the Zay Jones and first round pick
for me, in terms of who
trade.
wants him, I think there's two teams. I think one is the Steelers. I think the Steelers have the capital, have the money in order to trade for him, and then I think the Bills, now that they've
The Bills
lost,
obviously want him. They don't have anything
yeah,
to trade for him. The Steelers have stuff to trade for him,
yeah.
but
So
because I
it's
mean, in terms of team actually want him, I think every team in the NFL that doesn't have a solidified number one receiver should want Brandon Ayuk.
because like look at the
Because
Bills. They lost Gabe Davis. They just traded away Stephon Diggs.
I mean, I think the Bills look horrible
Yeah.
on paper now.
So
So
I think those teams possibly in a scenario could be in play for Brandon Ayuk. But at the end of the day, I think him
I don't
being
see
in San
anything
Francisco.
happening.
Yeah, I don't see anything happening. Which is huge for Brock Purdy because it seems like that's his guy in terms of that.
Retains a weapon,
Yeah,
and as a QB, the more the merrier.
yeah. And so, speaking of the Bills, this is where we're gonna probably spend most of the time talking about football here. So they traded yesterday
I mean, I
Stephon
don't even really think
Diggs.
there's a lot to talk about with
Yeah,
the Bills. They just don't look good
yeah.
now. They retained one big piece of their defense in AJS Vanessa,
They have
who's like
lost
he's good,
like
but
6 like
they
tiers,
lost both their
pillars, captains,
receivers.
whatever you want to call it. They
They
lost
lost
like
all of
6
their
of them.
DBs.
They
Like
lost
this
like
is not
6
the same
players.
Bills team
Yeah,
we know.
this is insane. They really
I don't even think they're the
cut
best
some
team in
ties
the
there.
AFC East anymore.
Oh, they're definitely not.
I think they're honestly probably third. I think the Jets, even if fucking what's his face is not even there, the Jets might be better just off raw roster talent. And then the Dolphins were one game away from winning the division last year, and this Jets
Yeah.
or not this Jets, this Bills team is far worse.
But to give a
And then
little
the
context,
Patriots
right?
are
So they traded him away. Uh, they got a second round pick back, but not this year, next year. And apparently, reportedly, that the Bills got tired of basically Stephon Diggs shit of complaining,
I'm gonna be
doing
honest, I think the
that elite
Bills
wide
are in the
receiver shit.
wrong here.
So
Because I watched a good amount of the Bills games towards the back end of the season where we started to see the Stephon Diggs quote unquote fall off.
yeah,
And it was not on Stephon Diggs. It was purely on quarterback play. I'm watching this dude get wide open, and he is either not thrown to at all or overthrown consistently by Josh Allen.
so let me ask you
And I think
this,
Josh
right?
Allen had a good end of the season statistically, but you cannot argue if you actually watched these games that Stephon Diggs was getting like kind of costed by either play call or decision making.
So I actually saw something, right, yesterday, and talking about how the Bills and Stephon Diggs, Stephon Diggs started to get a little frustrated with whatever the game plan, the way Josh Allen was playing, the way he wasn't getting involved, all that. And I saw some people saying, is Josh Allen a little to blame for Stephon Diggs being frustrated and him
Yes.
ultimately getting shipped away?
For sure, Josh Allen played
So for
super
me,
inconsistent all year.
right,
Stats
I
regardless,
get
but
that. And for me, it would be yes if we haven't seen this type of shit from Stephon Diggs before, right? Because this is like kind of crazy, right? I don't think we've seen a superstar wide receiver, or at least formerly was, had a down year. Wasn't even that bad, but he had really had just a rough stretch, like conclusion
he
of the
was really
season.
bad back end of the
Yeah.
season.
So, but we've never seen a star wide receiver want to leave a situation where there's a star QB, right? We've never really have seen that. Like wanting to leave, like frustrated to the point where he's like, I'm done. I want to go somewhere else. Because at the end of the day, he got
That's
traded, right? So he doesn't necessarily know where he's gonna go and if the grass is gonna be greener on the other side, so to speak.
well, he has power if his contract is expiring. I don't know what his contract is,
By the way, like
but
regardless, he got traded, so like he doesn't know for sure that he was gonna get traded to what we know now, the CJ Stroud. So
the only time you have power where you're going to get traded is if your contract's expiring
yeah,
because you can tell a team, I'm not going to resign with you. Don't even bother.
yeah. So
But
I don't know how much. I mean, obviously, like we said, Josh Allen played inconsistent. I think that has a lot to do with the way they were game planning and playing. It seemed as if so. What makes Josh Allen the superhero QB, right, is the plays he can make just by just the big explosive plays he can make. But on the flip side of that, he will make mistakes, as we've seen, like moronic type of mistakes, right? So
game losing mistakes.
what the Bills did towards the end of the season and in the postseason is they said, "Hey, we're not going to put you in a position to make for those explosive plays because how often you make those like bad decisions, like 2 to 3 plays where it's just like you're looking at it, you're like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? What are you seeing there?
The
Right?
thing is, that's just how that Bills offense was good though,
That's
was like
just
the
exactly.
risk reward factor on his
And
plays,
that's why I think
and they
this
just fell
isn't
off.
on Josh Allen in terms of why Stephon Diggs was getting frustrated with like how involved he was, right? Or like just the
It's a
slump he was in.
combination for sure. Like you can't solely blame one person. You can also blame the OC of the Bills for
Yeah.
being terrible because he was. They replaced him. But you also like when you see the throws that Josh Allen was missing to like wide open targets, some of the blame has to be on his
And
play.
you're right. But and
But
then we've also we've just seen this from Stephon Diggs before. We've seen it.
yeah, I don't think the Vikings one was as bad as this one kind of seemed because
No,
you could kind of see the
literally
tension
in a
during the
post game,
season.
literally in a post game interview, they asked him if he wanted to be a Viking. And he said, "We'll see," or some shit like that
I mean,
on
yeah,
air.
but
Like that's kind of crazy to be honest to say. I think it's the same shit
but
or
I feel like
possibly
the
even worse.
on-field frustration was more evident with the Bills. Like obviously he made that comment with the Vikings,
Yeah.
but
And
you
so
could see his frustration game in, game out those last like 6 to 8 games of the season, including playoffs.
because I would definitely put a little blame on Josh Allen, but like Stephon Diggs has done this before where he's outing his quarterback and
Yeah.
his
But the
org.
thing is, every time he goes to a new team, he balls out for like 2 seasons. So
But is that a good thing? He rides the high, but then when it gets low, he kind of just
I
basically
mean, the
fucking
thing
throws a
is though,
tantrum.
the Texans get him right, and they probably get him for minimum 2 years of his
Oh
contract.
no, this is
So
we'll
they
get
can
to
just let
that in
him walk.
yeah, we'll get to that in a
Right.
second. The Texans won this shit, and it's not even close because the Bills
Yeah, like we can
are
say what
paying
we
dead
want
cap.
about Stephon Diggs, but
The Texans are paying nothing for him. The Bills are taking
and I
a
think
$35
Texans
million
culture.
dollar. They're taking a $35 million dead cap hit.
I
Awful.
also think the Texans team culture is going to be much better for someone like Stephon Diggs compared to the Bills and Vikings.
I mean, probably yeah, but
And CJ Stroud is, I'm gonna be honest, probably a better QB than both of them.
we'll see. We'll see. I definitely think he's on his way there, and
Like
honestly,
if CJ Stroud takes a sophomore leap, I don't think it's close. Honestly, well,
oh,
it means probably close.
so
Josh
I'll say
Allen's
this
top three
before we get
QB in
into
the
the
league, but
Texans, and on the flip side of this trade, I think his ceiling is MVP next year.
oh, I agree.
Yeah.
He could have won MVP this year,
Like, do I
probably.
think he's gonna win MVP next year? No, because I think Patrick Mahomes is about to fucking rain hellfire
Ye-
on the league. But I think
I
his
honestly
ceiling
think
is MVP.
he is like a top 2 or 3 front runner for it though, because it's like what
He
Patrick
was fourth this year. He was
Mahomes.
fourth this year in
Yeah,
his rookie year. He was fourth in MVP voting. So,
because it's like Patrick Mahomes,
and then I mean, it's anyone
Lamar
after that.
Jackson, and then probably CJ Stroud. Right?
But yeah, so let's go to the flip side of this trade. The Texans, right? Holy shit, they've been
The
having
biggest
free
winner of
agency.
free
Dear
agency. This is one of the
God,
best free agencies I've ever seen. They've improved on every spot on their team
it's
besides
actually
running
nuts.
back. But guess what? You can draft a running
Wait, hold
back
on. They
and
got Joe
pay him
Mixon.
$12. I forgot about
Yeah,
that.
they
Never
got
mind.
Joe
They've improved
Mixon.
in
Yeah,
every
they
single
improved.
position
They improved
on the
hella.
field. It's actually wild.
I like holy shit. Yeah, and then they got Daniil Hunter on the D line. Like this team has
So they
improved so
got
hard.
Joe Mixon, improved running back from Devin Singletary. They re-signed Dalton Schultz, who's a serviceable tight end. And then on defense, they got Danico Autry, Aziz Al-Shaair from the Titans. They got Jeff Okuda on a $6 million contract. Then they got Daniil Hunter, which is crazy, alongside Will Anderson. They re-signed Desmond King. It's like, bro,
And this is all with D'Amico Ryans as their head coach, the
yeah,
defensive coach, who
that defense is
that
stacked.
defense is going to be good this year. Like look at what he did. Look at the drop off between D'Amico Ryans and Steve Wilkes. Steve Wilkes got fired. We don't fire our coordinators. Not under Kyle Shanahan. Kyle Shanahan doesn't
And then
fire
the
his
last two
coordinators.
became head coaches.
Yeah. So, I mean, last three.
Miko Ryans,
Mike McDaniel, the Dolphins head
Sala,
coach.
He was a DC.
No, he was an OC, but still
Oh,
coordinators. So that defense is gonna be good. And then CJ Stroud, he's given Stephon Diggs, who was quote unquote a down year, had 1,100 yards.
let's keep in mind, Stephon Diggs is going to be alongside Tank Dell and Nico Collins,
Yes,
who were both really good last year. Nico Collins had a better season than Stephon Diggs did last year.
like I see this Texans team winning the AFC South.
And they still have Noah Brown as a wide receiver 4.
So I just
So
briefly I just wanted to go over this. I think the Texans
this
won
looks like
free
a 12,
agency.
13 win
This
team,
is
bro.
one of the best off seasons by a single team I've ever seen. Like this is
It's the
nuts.
best I've seen in a
Right.
long time.
But yeah, the
Easily the biggest
you got to
winner.
tip the Texans, dude. This trade, like we touched on earlier, this Stephon Diggs thing. If he doesn't pan out, they can let him walk, and they don't suffer any consequence. They
Yeah.
can let him walk if they don't like what his production, don't like his attitude, don't like his antics. And if he does good, then I mean, yeah, they could think about an extension because I still think he's very good. Right, so tip the Texans, great offseason acquisitions. This team is going to be scary as hell to play. I think they're automatically skyrocketed to a top tier team in the AFC. I think on par with the Bengals just because Joe Burrow's coming back from injury, and I think they're a notch below Baltimore and the Chiefs. And honestly, they might be on the same level as Baltimore, but we'll see. So,
I mean, Baltimore had a pretty good free agency as well.
yeah, they did.
Just getting Derrick Henry. I mean, they lost Patrick Queen, but I don't think Patrick Queen was the fuel to their linebacking core.
Yeah.
And they just re-signed Justin Madubuike. So
All right, and then we got the draft, NFL draft coming up in a couple weeks.
one of the more
Quarterback
interesting
heavy
drafts.
class, wide receiver heavy class.
Yeah.
This is
Very
honestly good.
offense
Yeah,
heavy.
very offense heavy because there's a couple guards, tackles. There's a center in there.
There's 2 big tackles. There's Brock
Yeah.
Bowers and
Brock
a
Bowers, yep.
metric fuck ton of receivers and a lot of QBs.
So what my question is for the both of us, and we'll both give our pieces. What do you think will be the biggest blockbuster, or just the biggest thing to note coming out of the draft after the first round?
Coming out of the draft or going in? But I think the biggest
I
thing
guess
that can
going
happen is
in.
whatever the Vikings do. Because the biggest thing right now is if the Vikings win a trade into the top 5 to guarantee JJ McCarthy.
Okay.
Because depending who they trade with, because the obvious people they can trade with are the Cardinals or Chargers, right? Depending who they trade with is a big deal for where Marvin Harrison Jr. might fall.
Yeah.
Right? Because if they trade up to 4, then they obviously are going to take JJ McCarthy. And then the Chargers have to make a decision whether they want to go something like O-line or they just take the best player available, right?
For me,
because then if the Chargers don't take Marvin Harrison Jr., that means Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to fall to the Giants, which would be kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But I don't really see Marvin Harrison Jr. not getting drafted by the Cardinals or the Chargers if he's on the board. So,
and quick note on the Cardinals thing, Kyler Murray's succeeded with the big body, like go up 50-50 all wide receivers. Like, because look at it, he got Larry Fitzgerald. Granted, it was at the the back end of Larry Fitzgerald's career, but still, that's the type of receiver he was.
yeah, I think the biggest thing was that
they traded for
right?
they traded for D-Hop, right? And then kind of look at it now. Like ever since D-Hop kind of got injured, then he faced the suspension, the 8-game suspension, then he got injured again, and then they just let him go. He hasn't, Kyler Murray, I mean, granted, he was dealing with his own injuries, but he hasn't had that type of style receiver as a D-Hop, as a Fitzgerald, and I think Marvin Harrison Jr. matches that type of play style. Right?
Yeah.
So I think him going there, I think all this other wide receiver shit is smokescreen. I think Marvin Harrison Jr. will be the number one wide receiver one off the board.
Oh, he for sure.
Yeah, I think he's definitely, like I saw things about Romeo Dunze, Malik Neighbors. I still think it's being Marvin
There
Harrison.
is only one other receiver that could go above Marvin Harrison, and it's Malik Neighbors.
Yeah. So
I see no realm.
That's just a quick note on the Cardinals. But for me, the biggest thing is what the Chargers want to do, right? So obviously, we've seen what they've been doing. Austin Eckler gone, Keenan Allen gone, right? Mike Williams gone.
They
There
need a
goes
receiver, but
there goes Jay Herbo's weapons right there. All of them gone. Right. So for me, the obvious route is for them to pick a wide receiver, but I'm at the point where this team just lost a bunch of. You might as well just full send. I think they should trade back. This draft is very offensive heavy, like we talked about. There's a bunch of wide receivers they can pick. There's a bunch of linemen they can
bunch
take.
of tackles. There's a lot of
Yes,
receivers.
right. I'd rather them get 5 really good pieces than spend 1 pick on 1 really good piece
I
and still
think
leave
their
holes in that
best
offense.
I think their best plan of action is to trade with the Vikings to get obviously capital from the Vikings, and
Yeah.
then either take one of the tackles with that Vikings pick, which I believe the Vikings have the 11th
Yeah.
pick. Yeah, they have the 11th pick, so they will have their pick of the litter of one or two of the offensive tackles left after Joe Alt and what's his name, the guy from Oregon State and Penn State, and then or they can take the receiver from LSU, Brian Thomas Jr. So
And I think there's teams that obviously want to trade, like the not the Patriots, you guys. I think if you guys given the opportunity, if you can trade up to draft Drake May, I think you guys would want to do that.
I don't
Because I
know if
because
we're gonna
I
trade
think
up.
Brian Dable. Remember, he didn't draft Daniel Jones. He inherited him.
Well, yeah,
And we know this very well about GMs and coaches. They
but the
want their
GM did resign him.
they want their own guy. They want, well, mainly Brian Dable in this situation, but
I mean, he
it's an and or
co-signed
situation.
re-signing him for $100 million.
I mean, but what else were you guys gonna do? Yeah,
What are we gonna do
exactly.
this year?
I mean, you can trade.
we're-
There's
if
an
we-
opportunity this year. You can trade
Well,
up to
the
draft
issue
a
is,
quarterback.
right, regardless of what happens, if we draft a QB, we're gonna cut Daniel Jones and take on like 40 million in dead cap. If we take a receiver, we have
Daniel Jones could be a
and
part
Drew
of the
Lock,
trade on
like,
draft day.
no one wants that contract.
I mean, I think you can find a team. Like, look at the Patriots. That's another team I want to talk
They
about. I
don't
think
want that contract.
they have the. What are you talking about? They can afford it. Because
Yeah,
if they
but just
they
because you
could
can
trade.
afford it doesn't mean you want it.
Okay, look at it this way, right? Okay, let's say forget the who was I talking? The Chargers. Forget the Chargers. Patriots are in the position to draft a quarterback, but that offense is nowhere near. Their offensive weapons are horrible. They have 0.
Yeah, but
Right?
they have multiple picks in this draft, I'm pretty sure.
Exactly.
So they can easily get a QB
But why
and a
not?
receiver.
No, I don't. They only have 1 first round though.
I thought they had 2.
But for me, if I'm the Patriots, drafting a quarterback this year will not solve their problems. Honestly, it could hurt the quarterback that they draft because he's not going to have anything. He's not going to have anything to work with. And let's say that so the Patriots trade back and you guys get the pick, and they take Daniel Jones. They know
But they won't trade back with us. They would trade back with like the Vikings. So then the Vikings get their pick of the litter at QB. They
so
can
would
either
you
pick Drake
guys.
May or JJ McCarthy.
So would you guys.
But the Vikings have more capital to trade with. They have 2 first rounders this year. And if what
Regardless,
you're saying they want to do, they're going to take more picks over the 6th pick. Because I think the Vikings have the 11th and something else.
pretty sure they just. I don't think there's a team.
They have the 11th and 23rd pick, I'm pretty sure.
Because I'm thinking about this way.
Minnesota has the 11th and 23rd pick.
Because if you guys trade up, you can get Drake May, right? And you send them. You basically swap picks, and then you send them Daniel Jones. And that enables the Patriots.
I don't think anyone in their right mind wants Daniel Jones.
Why in the Patriots position? Why not? Why not? They have the money. They won't be paying anybody. They won't have to pay anybody. That gives them time to draft people.
But he has 3 years on his contract.
Yeah, and all the players they draft this year and coming forward, well, his contract will be gone and getting rid of by the time those rookie contracts expire. What I'm saying is
That's the problem. You want to win on rookie contracts. You can't bog down.
not on skill positions. What are you talking about? Skill positions, it doesn't matter.
What? You see how expensive receivers are now?
No, because what I'm saying is you're building a bridge with Daniel Jones, right? And then when you finally,
It's an expensive wobbly bridge.
Yeah, but when you draft around Daniel Jones, right? You don't even draft around. You just draft weapons. You build up
No
your
one
offense.
wants Daniel Jones. I'm sorry.
Hold on, let me finish. You build that offense. You get weapons. You build that line, and by the time you have to pay them, you draft a quarterback who is on a rookie contract. Therefore, you're able to retain those offensive weapons that you have built on that offense.
Yeah, but
and then you bring in a rookie QB. Then you bring in a rookie QB who has all these established weapons. Hopefully, obviously, this is all hopefully. We're speaking hypothetical.
So we're just banking on the future that there's a QB draft as good as this one.
I mean, that's what you do in a draft, Kyle. What? Everything that every team that's drafting every year
on a draft 3 years from now when you can just do the draft now.
That's what they'll be doing in the future, no matter what.
Yeah, but it's easier to bank on receivers than it is on quarterbacks.
But we don't. Okay, but you don't know what quarterbacks are coming in the next couple years, and there's always usually
next year is one of the worst quarterback drafts in history.
Yeah,
so.
But that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm saying you trade for Daniel Jones. As bad as we think he is, he's average.
Bro, if someone wanted Daniel Jones, he would have already been traded. Because it is evident the Giants do not want him anymore.
Okay, it's not about wanting to want him to the point where we need him as a starter. What I'm saying is the Patriots are at the point where their offense is nowhere. They need to start building somewhere. So why not? I'm not saying they're going to trade
around 3 years and however much money is left on his contract.
You're not okay. Like I said, you're not building around Daniel Jones. You're building an offense that Daniel Jones can operate at least at an average rate. Shit, it doesn't even need to be average because you're rebuilding at this point.
Well, let me ask you this: Daniel Jones, is Daniel Jones worth it when they have Jacoby Brissett on a 10 times cheaper contract? Is Daniel Jones that much better than Jacoby Brissett?
I mean, maybe not. Maybe. I don't know.
Is he better? Probably. Yeah, I would probably say he's better. But is he $80 million more better?
But here's the thing. You're talking about cheaper. I don't, because at this point they're rebuilding through the draft, right? And their cap space is insane.
They're rebuilding through the draft, right? But the thing is, say they get good pieces through the draft that have good rookie seasons, or they show good signs in their rookie seasons, for example, a quarterback, right? Because their team is obviously not good. They're missing a lot of pieces on offense. Their defense is solid. They have a new head coach. But you have free agency draw if there is potential seen in your team. But if you don't have any money to spend in free agency to bring some of these players in, what's the point?
Okay, but no free agent's gonna want to go there without a quarterback.
Year, but what if next year? That's why I'm saying they should just take the QB. If let's say they have their it's whoever it's obviously based on who the Commanders take, right? They're going to have Drake May or Jaden Daniels. Let's say one of those QBs has, a good rookie season. Drake May has a Justin Herbert-esque season. Jaden Daniels looks like the next Lamar Jackson, whatever. That is free agency draw on top of a young head coach who, if he has a D'Amico Ryans-esque season, he's not going to have that, obviously. D'Amico Ryans kind of got blessed with C.J. Stroud. But there needs to be a draw there, and Daniel Jones is not a draw. It's a negative because they don't have money.
You just said that if those quarterbacks turn into, elite level quarterbacks, do you think that if the Patriots draft a quarterback this year, let's say they draft Drake May, do you really think that he's going to turn it into that type of player with that type of offense?
I don't think he's going to have a Justin Herbert season because Justin Herbert had Keenan Allen and all these other receivers.
Because let's be honest,
when C.J. Stroud came into the Texans
okay. He had an anomaly rookie season. We cannot use that as the precedent. We cannot.
Obviously, but you're going to sit here and act like the Patriots aren't going to draft skill positions in this draft. They're going to draft a receiver in the second round, probably, especially if they take a QB.
Yeah, but it's all about building more. Kyle, you guys will give up picks if given the opportunity to draft a quarterback because Brian Daboll thinks that he can win with your guys' team if they draft his guy.
I'm not saying we would be against trading up, but no one wants Daniel Jones. He would have already been gone if someone wanted him.
I mean,
Simple.
maybe no, but it's like I said, it's not about wanting him because he's good.
He doesn't bring the value in a trade up. He brings it down because of his contract.
Yeah, it brings it down unless it like the Patriots. They don't need to worry about a financial situation with their quarterback right now. They have the cap space. They won't have to pay anybody building through the draft. Like, I don't get what's. I'm not saying he's gonna get traded, right? I'm not gonna say it. Shit, Patriots might honestly not want him.
No one does. We don't even want him. That's why we're gonna take the dead hit.
Well, because you guys are ready to move off of him. That's why you've given that thing has ran its course. That's why you guys don't want him. You've had him for 4 years, and you've seen enough. But what I'm saying is the Patriots.
The rest of the league.
But what I'm saying is the Patriots, a team like the Patriots, right? They have nothing. They have nothing to build off of. They are starting from scratch. They are starting from zero. But shit,
Yeah,
okay.
And Daniel Jones is not a foundation.
Yeah, he's not meant to be one.
Well, they're building from zero. They need something to start from, and Daniel Jones is not something to start from.
No, it's this. What to start from is drafting in this draft. Drafting skill positions all over the place.
And that's what they're gonna do regardless. Their defense is stacked.
But they can
This
add.
whole draft, they're just gonna draft offense.
But they can gain more draft capital from you guys. They're going to
No,
get more.
they can't. They just get the 6th pick instead of the 3rd.
Kyle,
What?
you really think the Patriots are not going to ask for more picks other than a pick swap for that high of a draft pick?
Give them more.
Okay. That's an opinion. You said you don't think you're gonna give them more. But what I'm saying is,
I do not think it is worth for the Giants to move up 3 picks by giving away their 6th and their 2nd and like
move
a
up
4th.
3 picks.
That is not worth
Hold
it.
on, but you're acting like the difference in between those 3 picks isn't a quote unquote first round
pick of the litter of the top 3
exactly.
QBs.
So how can you tell me that
So you're
that's
also
not a
gonna sit here and
difference?
act like our situation for a QB is better than the fucking Patriots. We don't have receivers either. What are you on about?
But you have things to look at. And first of all, look at your head coach. Look at your okay. Hold on. Okay, you had Saquon. That is it. Your wide receiver room is just as bad as it was when you guys won with Daniel Jones in Brian Dable's first year. What?
Exactly. We're not going to talk about that season. That was an anomaly.
So in Brian Dable's mind, he's like, okay, we won with Daniel Jones with the same wide receiver core. Yeah, we lost a running back, but at the end of the day, brother, it's a running back.
It was all of our offense.
Well, yeah, but regardless, he was all of your offense this year, and you guys were horrible. But what I'm saying is, Brian Dable won with Daniel Jones with the same bad offense you guys had before. And so in his mind, he's like, I can draft a QB that I think is better, and it will be the QB that I want, that I can, focus on, not one that I inherited. All right. Anyway, we agree to disagree. We've spent too much time on this topic.
Make no damn sense. I'm gonna be honest.
No, you make no damn sense. You're
Patriots
insane.
and Giants both have no weapons.
Kyle.
But what
Mac
you're describing makes no sense.
It does make sense. What are you talking? Did you guys not have the same exact offense, just minus Saquon, when you guys won games 2 years ago with Daniel Jones? The reason why he got that extension. Did you or did you guys not have basically the same exact offense? You guys had Darren Waller.
If anything, we upgraded and we got worse.
I think you guys
was an anomaly.
Sure. You're gonna call it an anomaly, but you guys won. Did you? No, but did you or did you guys not win that year more than you thought? You guys almost made the playoffs.
We made the playoffs. We won a playoff game with a borderline practice squad roster. That's an anomaly. Just like when the Jags made the AFC Championship.
Okay, I'm not trying to say that offense was good. But what I'm saying is if Brian Dable can, in his head, if he can win with that, he's drafting a QB that is arguably going to be better than Daniel Jones. You're telling me he doesn't think, oh shit, we can win? Like what?
Oh, you can't bank on an anomaly just with a better quarterback.
Brother, that's what the draft is. Everyone is banking on something.
Then the Patriots should just keep their pick and bank on it.
Okay. Oh, all right, bro. All right. We need to move on. We've been spending too much time on
Patriots
this.
have a better team than the Giants do.
Do they really?
Defense is more
offense.
complete.
Okay. If we're going off team, sure. Okay. I'm going off strictly offense.
They both suck.
I've seen Brian Dable do something with that bad Giants offense. I haven't seen this Patriots offense do anything.
I mean, I didn't really see them do anything last year with the Giants offense, but
No, that's not what I'm talking about when you guys won the reason why Daniel Jones got that insane ass extension.
the Patriots made the playoffs with Mac Jones with pretty much the same offense, so
His rookie year. And that team, what are you talking about? That team was significantly better than the one they have right now.
the offense was still bad. Like there was still no like weapons on the offense.
Okay. Like I said, we spent too much time on this. We're already at the 40-minute mark. We need to move on. We still got some other things to talk about. We'll agree to disagree. But the NFL draft should be pretty sick. So let's shift gears into the NBA, right? So I wrote this down. I wanted to talk about it. I don't know if you saw, but I talked about it with Nick a little bit about the Giannis Jokic situation. So I heard something, right, on First Things First, right? And it said, and it made me really and it talked about Giannis and Jokic, right? Just basically where they were at. Giannis won his first ring at 26. Jokic won his first ring at 27. Both have 2 MVPs. Both have a Finals MVP, right? And they're both statistically insane, right? Jokic is averaging fucking like 27, 10, and 10, close to it. Or like, yeah, and then Giannis is averaging 30, 12, and 7, right? So pretty insane, different styles of players. And so what I brought up, right, and I guess I want to hear your thoughts on it, is I would probably lean more towards Jokic, right? I think he's just earned it. He's probably about to win his 3rd MVP. So I would probably lean towards Jokic as best player in the world. But if someone wanted to say they thought Giannis was better than Jokic and was the best player in the world, honestly, I don't think it's that far-fetched. I don't think it's blasphemous. I just want to know your thoughts on the Giannis Jokic, like 1A, 1B, whichever way you want it type of situation. Because I think Giannis is having I think Giannis has done this to the point where like it's normal. Obviously, that's just kind of what happens when you're a Hall of Fame, generational type of player. People kind of just get used to what you're doing. But Giannis is having a really good fucking year. And all I've heard majority is about how weird the Milwaukee Bucks situation is, how they're underperforming. Like I think I saw Nick say he fell off, which is insane, by the way.
If you're averaging, if you're averaging 30, you haven't fallen off anything.
Yeah, exactly. So I just what are your thoughts on that, like 1A, 1B thing?
I mean, it's just the way Giannis plays is very unenjoyable to watch, almost.
Yeah.
And he's going to get discredited for it probably forever because he can't shoot. His free throw percentage is low.
Yeah.
But, I mean, he's a freak athlete, so he has great defense.
Yeah.
And he's going to finish pretty much whenever he gets to the paint.
Yeah.
But the thing, I guess, that why Jokic gets so much credit, I guess, is because of that first MVP season where he dragged that Nuggets team by the balls into the playoffs for the second round. And is like if you take Jokic off the Nuggets are like a 20-win team. And I think even some Nuggets fans would probably agree the Nuggets without Jokic are like a band of school children.
Yeah.
Because everything goes through Jokic. He is the heart, soul, brain, arms, limbs, everything of that team.
Because I thought it was interesting, right? Because like I said,
Giannis off the Bucks, I still think they win like 40 games.
40 is kind of crazy. I don't know if they win 40.
Maybe 30.
Yeah.
They're better than the Nuggets would be without Jokic.
I just thought it was interesting because when you match up their careers, it's kind of going the same way. It's going quite literally the same way. Giannis won his ring a year younger.
Follow this like similar, career path, right? Where they look good for a few years, and then they finally get a team. They win a ring at 26, 27. That's how it goes.
But I think
LeBron and Jordan
I just don't think that gap between Jokic and Giannis is insanely big. I honestly think it's close, neck and neck. It's just whoever. And then I saw people saying Giannis can't shoot. They leave him open. I'm like, bro, he's like the second coming of Shaq, essentially. He really is. He's a more athletic version of Shaq. You think motherfuckers were going to guard Shaq at the three-point line? Hell fucking no. You think they would have loved for him to sag off and let him shoot? Yes. But at least the only difference is Giannis is willing to shoot threes. Now, granted, do they go in more often than not, or more often not than it does go in?
Some days he shoots 70, some days he shoots 12.
Yeah, so I just don't like the shooting comparison because like they have two different styles of play. Jokic is a playmaker and he can shoot. Giannis is a fucking slasher and a body type of player.
I just think the easiest way to put it, and why I would probably say Jokic has the edge compared to Giannis, at least right now, is that Jokic's style of basketball is more consistent in like winning. Yeah, I guess.
And I think it's better for it goes along with winning, but I think it's better for postseason because postseason, the game slows down. It becomes half court offense. Teams hold the whistle, so it's like
Giannis's play doesn't inherently make his team better.
Yeah. He's just dominant.
Like he needs people who can spread the floor, right? That's why they brought in Damian Lillard. That's why Chris Middleton has been so
Jokic's play translates to postseason better because the game slows down. It comes half court offense. You have to run more sets. Teams set up their defenses, so you got to work around that. Whereas Giannis, I mean, he puts his head down and just drives to the basket.
The Bucks, they should be better, right? Because they essentially play. Giannis has the ball, and then the rest spread the floor, right? And I think we can both agree that Damian Lillard is a better shooter than Drew Holiday is.
Yeah.
But Damian Lillard also wants the ball.
Yeah.
And it's kind of an issue of too many ball handlers. Because if you look, Chris Middleton, what does he do? Sits on the,
Yeah, he just sits off the
3-point line.
Yeah, just sits.
Brooke Lopez, he's in the corner probably, or right there at the midi. I'm not sure who their power forward is. Or there's like the other player on the starting lineup. I'm blanking.
That's fine.
But
yeah, I get what you're saying.
Like the whole thing is Giannis either drives to the basket and scores or drives and kicks, right? That's like why they were so successful and they won the finals that one year. But they just kind of have too many ball handlers issue, and I think it's kind of not inherently similar to the Lakers when they had Russell Westbrook because the Lakers had no shooters.
Yeah.
Like the worst three-point shooting team in the league, so.
Like I said, I'd lean more towards Jokic, but if someone wanted to come to me and argue Giannis, I wouldn't be mad at it. I don't think
anyone's going to argue Giannis as the best player. I think Jokic is kind of far and away the best player, at least this year.
Yeah.
Because Joel Embiid got hurt when he was having a pretty crazy season. Giannis is kind of getting discredited because the team is quote-unquote underperforming.
Yeah, which, I mean...
Even though they're like third in the East or something with like almost 50 wins.
Yeah. I think they're second now. I don't know. I haven't looked at it.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like them, the Cavs... The Celtics are like far and away first. But yeah, I don't think Jason Tatum will, because Jason Tatum disappeared in games this year.
Know. He's horrible in the clutch, so it's fine.
Yeah. And then in the West, alongside like Jokic, I don't think anyone is even really close. I mean, probably Shea. Shea deserves more.
Yeah, but
credit.
He's not gonna. He scored like it's
they're
cool.
First
but...
in the West.
Yeah.
He plays defense. He scores.
Yeah.
But he's not gonna get credit. The MVP is probably Jokic.
It's probably going to be. He's going to win his third this year, but I just thought I'd bring that up because I thought it was interesting.
I think Giannis gets far too much disrespect the last few years because they haven't.
We're just bored. Yeah, we're just bored, and we're just bored of what he's doing, which happens to these type of players.
What happened in the first round last year, which he was injured for the first two games.
Yes. Yeah.
So.
All right.
But I mean, that team ended up going to the finals. Like, the team also beat the Celtics. Are we going to disrespect the Celtics now? Like, come on.
Right. Yeah, I just thought I'd bring it up. That was interesting. All right, so we'll just shift over to a topic that I also wanted to talk about that really, actually, my opinion changed on it this year because of what I've been seeing from this team. So we know Steph is a Warrior, and we always thought that he was always going to be a Warrior. However, I guess my question to you is, can we see Steph leaving or asking for a trade from the Warriors? I've had a change of heart on this. I think he could, and I can see him. I think there's a scenario where he does because this team. So let's look at the
The
dynasty.
team isn't getting better. That's the problem.
Yeah, exactly. Like the pieces aren't good enough, and then let's look at the pieces from the dynasty, right? Which is over, by the way.
They've fallen off.
Clay, by no fault of his own, it's unfortunate. Back-to-back major
I mean,
injuries.
we say that, but last year he led the league in 3-pointers. Like, I don't understand what happened.
Yeah, I don't either. But
Or not last year, but the year before, whatever
Yeah.
year they won the finals.
Yeah. But like, just let's call it what it is. He's not the same player he was. By no fault of his own. It's unfortunate. The back-to-back injuries really like.
Thing is, he had a good season coming back from those injuries.
Yeah.
And he was okay last year. I don't know what has happened.
Yeah, I don't either. And then look at Draymond. We're getting to a point where like, is it worth it? Like this team got better with Draymond on the floor, but like he obviously doesn't fucking understand that because he's willing to get off the court and stay off of it because he doesn't like a call. He doesn't like the way someone talks to him. He fucking does these weird ass, psychotic ass fouls that really make people scratch their heads. And then we saw that clip of Steph getting like basically pissed off. Like bro started crying.
Yeah, I think if an opportunity arises where Steph can form a team or a team can form that gives Steph another title shot,
Yeah.
he probably takes
exactly.
it.
And look at it this way.
But-
So the biggest incentives for him to stay on the Warriors is one, pieces, promising pieces. Outside of Jonathan Kuminga, I don't see it. Klay Thompson, not the same player. The Warriors are at some point not going to pay him. They're not going to pay him. And Draymond Green, they might trade his dumbass. They might trade him because at some point, everyone's asking themselves, is this player worth it? Is he worth it? Like, don't get me wrong, their team gets better, but like, the dude's psychotic at some points. Like, it's insane. And so they might trade him. He might leave. I don't know. It's just weird, right? So I always thought Steph was going to be a Warrior up until he retired, but I don't know. Make this brief. We're running out of time.
I don't think
So
he'll leave the Warriors because
I just can see a scenario where he
he's
does.
just pretty settled there.
Yeah.
But I don't say it's a 0% chance that like
I
if
think
the
it's higher
opportunity
now
arose, he
that I've
would-
seen this because Steph is still good. He may not be 2016 Steph, but he's still elite.
And he's still a top 15
Yeah.
player in the league.
I think he's still top 10 player, to be honest. He's going through a slump right now, but he was having a good year. And then let's go. And he's 36, bro. Like Steph wants to win. He still thinks he can win, right? So it's like, dude, I would say it went from a 0% chance to like, for me, like a 25% chance of him leaving, to be honest. And that could get higher,
it's that high,
determining. I think it could get higher, determining on how the rest of this offseason goes. But you don't think he's leaving? I don't see him leaving, or I think the odds of him leaving are low, but I just think there's a scenario now, whereas before I really didn't think there was.
Yeah.
Okay, and then last topic, the play-in, the West. Let's make this brief because your boy's running out of time. Safe to say that the West in general is just insane this year.
Play-in's not even solidified. That's the
It's
thing.
not. Dude,
'Cause
all the way
there's,
up,
what, three
all the way up
44
into the
win
sixth,
teams?
yeah, and all the way up into the sixth seed, bro, which can change everything. That's determining between 2 playing games, 1 playing game, and you're already in, right? So
Yeah, 44, 44, 45, 45, 45.
And, like,
That's
look
5th
at-
through 9.
like-
And then the Clippers have 47 with no Kawhi for the rest
like
of
just
the
forget about team. Like obviously the teams there are insane, but look at the players that are going to have to match up in round 1 and in playing. LeBron, AD,
If the LeBron,
Steph,
if the,
Clay, Dre,
Yeah, if things don't
KD.
change, we get Lakers, Warriors, win or go home.
yeah.
Which is
So
pretty crazy.
so
I think the Lakers might move up though.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
Kings
and
Pelicans
low
are
key, hey,
slumping.
the Warriors are on a 5-game win streak, and the next couple games are insane. I know the Warriors play.
Yeah, but they're 2.5. They're 2 games behind the.
They
Lakers.
play the Lakers. They play the Lakers, and they play the Rockets one more time, and then they play the Mavs again, which is huge. Those are 3 like very vital games that could determine seeding. And then the Warriors get Utah twice, and I'm just going to assume they're going to win those. So we'll see. Just the play-in's insane. Just the players and matchups that are possible for the play-in in the West is nuts, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, you got anything else about that? About the plan? About the West and how difficult
No, I'm
it
just
looks?
interested to see if the standings change from
Yeah.
5 through 9.
Like I said, like I know I just said the Warriors schedule, but like all of these teams, like the next, there's what 8 games left. These next,
Every game matters.
yeah, these next 8 games can literally change everything in terms of the seeding
Well,
for like the 5
no.
for like the 6 through 10 teams.
There's 6 or 7 left for most teams.
Yeah. Wait. Yeah, around that
'Cause
area.
the Lakers are 44 and 33.
Yeah.
So they have what?
They have
5 games left?
5 games left. I looked at the Warriors, but either way, these next stretch of games are very important and could change
It's just
seeding.
pretty crazy that like the Lakers could win out and be, 1 game off 50 wins and be the 9th seed.
Yeah. The West is very insane. But should be exciting
The
to
West
watch.
could have 11 40-win teams.
Yeah.
That's actually insane. Then there's the East.
Yeah. But I mean, this has always been the thing, right? West has always probably been more competitive than the East for the.
I think the East was last year.
No, I know. I mean, there's probably one-offs, but I'm talking about in general over the last decade. The West has been probably more competitive than the East in terms of.
It's all like
teams, right?
historically the
Yeah.
West has been the more
Yeah.
competitive.
So, I mean, it's good this way though. I think the West is sick. Exciting
At least had
matchups.
4 50-win teams last year.
Yeah.
Jesus.
So I think we'll have a lot to watch over the next couple days. A lot of paying attention to Twitter because that's where we get our news from. So, yeah. If you got nothing else, brother.
Nope.
All right, cool. Well, that concludes episode 6. Long time coming. I know it's been a while. We'll be more frequent now that we got an editor that's not as busy. Shout out Matty G. We appreciate what you've done. But yeah, that concludes episode 6. Kyle, brother, it was a pleasure, and we'll be back with episode 7, my boys. See you guys later. Peace.